You got it.
All right, so we have started recording. Whenever you are ready, Commissioner Opstad.
Fantastic. Well, welcome everybody and good morning. Happy Friday before Labor Day weekend. Be safe, be hydrated, and stay cool. Good morning, everyone. I am calling this meeting to order at 9:31. My name is Keith Opstad, and I'm the chair of the City of San Diego Commission for Arts and Culture Public Art Committee. We're going to do a quick roll call to confirm committee member attendance. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and say present. Commissioner Fritz Friedman.
Present.
Anthony Graham.
Present.
Dr. Melinda Guillen. Wayne Holton.
Present.
Commissioner Abe Hughes.
Present.
Commissioner Alessandra Moctezuma. Francisco Eme. Commissioner Imani Robinson.
Present.
Dr. Han June Park.
Present.
Dr. Denise Rogers. Okay. Thank you very much.
For the record, Francisco Eme and Dr. Rogers joined us just now.
Excellent. Do I need to re-ask them if they are present?
I think we're ready to go.
Okay, great. Thank you. Your attendance has been noted. Also joining us today is Commission for Arts and Culture staff, including Chief of Civic Art Strategies, Christine Jones, and Senior Public Art Manager, Chuck Miller. Civic Art Project Manager, Dr. Laura Bullock, is not with us today. Before we get to today's agenda, I'm going to call on Chuck Miller to run down some of the guidelines for today's meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Opstad. Good morning, everyone. Reminder that this meeting is a Zoom webinar and members of the public may join the meeting as webinar attendees to provide virtual non-agenda and agenda comment in real time. A reminder to note the buttons on the control bar at the bottom of the Zoom window to mute and unmute and turn the camera on and off. Please remember to stay muted when you are not talking and to unmute yourself when you speak. Please keep your chat window open at all times as you will be using the chat to signal when you'd like to speak. Please refrain from using hand raising indicator and instead type speak in the chat window for the record, and the chair will acknowledge requests in order. And finally, a reminder to please refrain from using the meeting chat for anything other than signaling that you'd like to speak in order to comply with the Brown Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. We'll now continue with the non-agenda public comment. The public was invited to submit public comment on agenda and non-agenda items via a web form accessible through the agenda and the Commission's website. Members of the Commission may also join this meeting as webinar attendees. If members of the public have submitted comments in writing via the platform, staff will read aloud public comment submitted per city public comment protocol. I will call on Chuck to read aloud any non-agenda public comment or to call on any attendees who would like to provide comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Opstad. No comment was received in writing. To those members of the public in attendance, if you would like to provide non-agenda comment, please press the hand raise button when prompted, and I will call on you by your last name. When you are permitted to speak, I will send a prompt to unmute, and you have 3 minutes. Please state your name for the record first. To those members in attendance, please press the hand raise button now if you'd like to provide non-agenda public comment. I am seeing none.
Okay, thank you very much. So while as we jump into commission business, while the PAC did not meet in August, we did have a full commission meeting with special presentations. I wanted to thank a couple of the members. Wayne, it was great to see you at the groundbreaking of the Pacific Highlands Library. Fritz, you were there also, along with Christine and Chuck. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Also, there were several of the members at the different Park Social Explorations Day in July. I want to thank you all for attending that and supporting some of our previous projects that we have helped to fund. Right now, because we did not meet last month, I do not have anything new to report. Bear with me one moment. But I look forward to working with everyone on this committee as we settle into our new roles. It looks like we have an action for July 2022, the Public Art Committee meeting minutes. So I hope everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from the July 1st, 2022 meeting. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes as they are? If you would, please type speak. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, Keith, just looking for an opportunity to jump in.
Sorry about that.
Dr. Melinda Guillen has joined the meeting for the record.
Excellent. Duly noted. Thank you. Thank you for that, Chuck. So we were going to go ahead and approve the minutes for the July 1st, 2022 meeting. If anybody would like to motion to approve the minutes as they are, if you would, please type speak on the chat window. And when I call on you, verbally state your name and make your motion. Commissioner Friedman. Commissioner Robinson, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I motion to approve the minutes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Would anyone like to second that? Please type speak on the chat window and verbally state your name and second. Commissioner Hughes.
Second the motion.
Thank you very much. We now have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If you would like to speak regarding the minutes, please type speak on the chat window. Okay, I see none. Now we will take a vote. I will call your name and you will respond out loud with yay, nay, or abstain. Remember that you do not need to have been present at the July meeting to vote or discuss. Commissioner Friedman.
Yay.
Anthony Graham.
Yay.
Thank you. Dr. Melinda Guillen.
Yay.
Wayne Holton.
Yay.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yay.
Francisco Eme.
Yay.
Commissioner Robinson.
Yay.
Dr. Anjun Park.
Yay.
And Dr. Denise Rogers.
Yay.
Thank you all very much. And my vote is a yay. Chuck, please read any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing and call on any attendees that would like to provide comment for this item.
No comment was received in writing to those members of the public in attendance. If you would like to provide comment on this item, please press the hand raise button now. And I'm seeing none.
Okay, thank you very much, Chuck. So this is going to take us to our actions portion of the agenda, the artist selection panelists for Hidden Trails Park Public Art Project. Chuck, would you please provide an overview of the project and the staff recommendations?
Certainly, thank you, Commissioner Opstead. I'd like to take a moment quickly just to kind of bring especially our new members to bring them up to speed on the artwork, the public artwork development process. In this case, we'll be taking action on panelists for the Hidden Trails Park Public Art Project, which is part of our 2% set aside program for eligible capital projects. This is the basically the steps that will be taken in the development of this project. So city procures an artist, gathers research and engages the public, artist creates preliminary idea, artist creates artwork proposal, there's public input again, the artist creates a final design, the city approves the final design, and then we move on to fabrication and installation. So we are at the very first step here. And to get more specific, the Public Art Committee's role in this process at this step is to make recommendations for a public art committee member and a visual art professional for 2 of 5 seats on the ad hoc selection panel. So that's what we'll be doing today. So to give you a little bit of background on the Hidden Trails Public Art Project. Bear with me for just a second, getting my notes. The Hidden Trails Park project comprises a new neighborhood park located in the Hidden Trails subdivision in Ocean View Hills neighborhood in South San Diego. The neighborhood is adjacent to Otay Mesa to the south and San Isidro to the southeast, and is the most recently developed area in the southern section of the city. The project will convert 3.7 acres of open space to a new developed park, including a half basketball court, exercise equipment, play areas, site furnishings, and public art. So the artist contract for design, fabrication, transportation, and oversight during installation will be $100,000. The artist will create a permanent artwork that responds to the unique context of the new neighborhood park. An RFQ will be issued that will be open to artists authorized to work in the US. Artists apply by submitting qualifications. I want to be clear that this is a qualification and not a proposal request. And so the panel, the five-member ad hoc selection panel, will evaluate the applications and recommend one artist for the contract award. Construction is tentatively expected to be completed by the end of 2025. So today, the recommendation is that the commission approve the following panelists for the Hidden Trails Public Art Project: 1 public art committee member and an alternate public art committee member, and Perry Vasquez for the seat of the visual art and design professional, with recommended alternates in no particular order. And those alternates are listed in the staff report in the packet. And these 2 will serve as 2 of the 5 ad hoc artist selection panelists. So Perry Vasquez is an artist based in San Diego, California. He earned an MFA from the University of California, San Diego, and is professor of art at Southwestern College. For over 30 years, Vasquez has worked in a great variety of media addressing the San Diego-Tijuana border region. He is recently selected to create a series of murals for the new San Diego County Probation Building, and is a winner of the 2021 San Diego Art Prize. Vasquez served as a curator at the Centro Cultural de la Raza from 1993 to 1997 and operated Ice Gallery in San Diego from 2001 to 2004. He has exhibited his artwork in group and solo exhibitions locally and internationally, and is in the permanent collections of the Museum of Contemporary Art San Diego and Laguna Beach Art Museum, the City of San Diego Civic Art Collection, and the County of San Diego. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions.
I have a question,
Yes, Fritz.
Chuck. So I know that's $100,000 fee for the artist. Have they set a budget for the overall cost for the project? What is the budget cost for the project?
So I'm not sure offhand. The artist contract is ultimately derived from a 2% set aside from the overall cost of the project, and then a certain amount of that set aside is retained by the city to contract for the installation of the artwork.
Okay.
And so the remainder is what the artist contract is for.
Okay, so there's no general budget. I mean, I can extrapolate if that $100,000 is just 2% of the overall budget, if that's what you're saying. Okay.
Yes, and also, yeah. So essentially, it's that it's a little bit more than $100,000 is 2% of the overall project budget.
But we don't know
Um,
the overall project budget yet.
I don't have that number offhand,
Okay,
but I
I'm
could
just- I'm
find it,
just
I could
curious.
find it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just like context.
right, understood.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Commissioner Hughes has a comment.
Yes, I'm new to the process, so for my educational purposes, that fee, right? Further to Fritz's questions here, Commissioner Friedman's question. Sorry, further to his question. So I understand and get this clear in my head. 100,000 is a fee for for the artist, him or her, to design the work. What happens if it costs, let's say, another 100,000 to execute the work? Is that how this works, or is the 100,000, should that completely,
So
encompass the entire execution of the work installed?
So the contract that the city has with the artist is for the design, fabrication, transportation, and then oversight during installation. So that $100,000 has to cover all of those aspects of the artwork production. The city contracts separately for the installation of the artwork, and the artist basically consults for that at that stage of the project. Does
I
that answer your question?
It does, and it's not going to be based on cost of making the project, because the creative input, the artist can put whatever value they have on that, right? But we will award the artist 100,000 no matter how much the actual physical materials cost.
Yeah, well, the contract with the artist would basically stipulate that it's up to the artist to come up with a project for $100,000, if that clarifies further. So it's up to the artist to determine, to come up with a proposal
Yeah.
that where there's a sort of a do not exceed amount with respect to how much they get paid. So
Okay, so the only question then I would have from a concern, let's just call it, would be that this, in a sense, gives an incentive for the artist to possibly not put in a lot of materiality in the work, because materials cost money, right? And essentially, we may end up with some public works like this particular setup here that would be less substantial in terms of their physicality and their durability versus when it's structured this way, versus a cost allocated for the materials versus a cost allocated for the creative process. And I'm just a question mark that I would have about how we go about this is, are we incenting to have less substantial and impressively physical projects as a result of the way we go about it? So that's just a question I have. If you might comment on that, Chuck.
yeah, I think that it's with the RFQ process, it's sort of impossible to predict how an artist will approach the project.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the advantage of that is it keeps the possibilities sort of very open. So on the one hand, like a budget such as this might preclude maybe something that is particularly large in scale and material intensive, but there are many other strategies that an artist could take, some of which could be, for example, that the work is incorporated into the infrastructure of the park holistically, so it doesn't necessarily need to be a material heavy standalone object, if that makes sense. So and as I mentioned previously, the budgets are ultimately determined by the size of the overall project, right? Taking 2% from that. So we basically, it's up to the artists to figure out what they can do with that budget for that particular project and context. So I hope that clarifies somewhat.
Well, could I say something pursuant to what Abe was just saying? And I think what Abe is saying is that, and not in all instances, but in some instances, the artist will maximize their own personal potential profit from
Mhm.
this at the expense of the quality of the project, rather than giving the artist, here is your $50,000 or $75,000 fee for you to create and oversee. And here is the budget for what the piece of art's gotta cost. Work within those constraints. And this way, I don't think there are any surprises. But it just, I kind of agree with Abe that, or Commissioner Hughes, that, it's really, there may be some instances when the project is compromised if the artist wants to maximize their own personal gain or profit.
I'll
I-
just, if I could just add, Commissioner Hughes and Friedman, I certainly understand your concerns. I would say that we have done this type of project approach for quite some time with much success. The artist is responsible for submitting a budget, which itemizes their fee versus the materiality that's reviewed by staff to make sure that there's only a certain percentage allowed for the artist's kind of design fee. So there's not really an opportunity for them to, let's say, use 70% for their own design concept. So
I
that
think-
is already built into our agreements and process. So we do hold them accountable to ensure that most of the funds do go toward the fabrication and the actual artwork. Obviously, we want to ensure that they're also paying themselves. But there are standards within our field for percentages that go towards artist design fees and concept fees and kind of work on these projects. So we are in best practices and very much in line with national standards in the field.
I think the answer is, you answered the question. You said part of the proposal is that the artist has got to determine their own personal fee.
Well,
Correct.
I like Commissioner Friedman, what I like about the answer there is the fact that that's part and parcel of the review process of figuring out which artist the panel will choose.
Yes.
What is their budget? What's their approach? How much goes to material versus their fee? And then you guys take that into consideration based on standards. And so I think my doubt has definitely been answered because it will come through and be filtered out in the selection process, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Just to clarify, it's through the development process, right? So it's a request for qualifications process. So we hire an artist based on a review of their past work, looking at what they've done in the past, how much their budgets were in the past, things like that. Because we find that it's obviously that's the standard in the field. And also allows for deep development and research and collaboration with the design team once an artist is on board. Once they're on board, they have a contract which itemizes, how they have to create their budget. That's reviewed by the city during the development phase. You guys, as the Public Art Committee, will have an opportunity to review their concepts to ensure that they make sense from your perspectives and the criteria that are outlined for artwork review. So it's a pretty outlined process in order to get to a successful result.
Great. Answers my questions. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Fritz or Commissioner Friedman and Commissioner Hughes for your questions.
And to Chuck and Christine, maybe in a future near meeting, we could go over the process because we do have so many brand new committee members that might add to the transparency and more thorough understanding of the process.
Yes, indeed, noted. That makes a lot of sense.
And Chuck, we've got a couple comments from Commissioner Robinson, followed by Anthony Graham.
Yes, that's kind of basically what I want to know is how do we select? So it looks like we have to select someone from our committee. And then beyond that, we need to still select a panel of, I guess, 3 more artists.
So
pretty much go through that list.
yeah, so the Public Art Committee today will take action. So on 1 volunteer and 1 alternate from this committee, as well as the recommended art and design professional. The additional 3 members of the committee are made up, 1 community member, 2 is a member from the, or a volunteer from the asset owning agency, in this case, Parks and Rec. And the third would be typically the design consultant for the project. So the project designer, so a member of the design team ultimately. And that panel composition is guided by the Public Art Master Plan from 2004.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Do we know who the design team is for this project?
I believe it is Spurlock Landscape Architects for this project.
Thanks.
And did Anthony have a question?
I just had a comment. I wanted to sort of like speak to this skepticism of artists and the ways that they might approach their budgets, and really just advocate for the role that artists play in these projects, and to really comment on like that is what this committee is about supporting artists working in the public sphere, and to really put our trust in them, because these projects are for the benefit of our communities, but also for the benefit of these artists. You know, it does not behoove them to realize unsubstantial projects. And I think it's a great idea to go through some of the selection processes more thoroughly, especially from new committee members. And so I did also just want to say, like, you know, here we are at the very outset for projects selecting a selection committee, and to also put our trust in them to review artists with the best intentions and on the merits of their artistic practice. Yeah, and so I really just wanted to say that, and to foreground, you know, that the importance of artists in this work.
May I respond and just say that if there is some skepticism that's detected, certainly on my behalf, it was certainly not in any way intentional, quite to the contrary. I'm somebody that's collected art for over 35 years and have supported artists literally in the millions of dollars. And what may have come across as skepticism is really just understanding the process. So Anthony, you'll never find a more supportive person here on this committee of artists and what they do and the work they create. So please, I hope you adjust that thinking. That's not where it's coming from.
Excellent dialogue, and thank you everybody for your honesty and your candor and your passion. Is there any other comments? I believe Commissioner Hughes was the last. Chuck, do you have anything else?
No, I think we can move on with the volunteer selection process and the action item. So.
I agree. So I will now ask, are any volunteers from the Public Art Committee members to fill out one of the 5 selected panel seats for the Hidden Trails Park Public Art Project? We will also need one alternate in the event that those who volunteer are unable to serve. Are there any volunteers? Please type speak in the chat window and I will verbally acknowledge you in order. Oh, excellent. Okay, so it looks like so far we have Dr. An June Park.
Yeah, I'd like to volunteer.
Thank you very much. Duly noted. Wayne Holton.
I would also be available to volunteer.
Okay. And Francisco M.A.
Yes, I would like to volunteer too.
Okay, excellent. Now, Chuck, now that we have 3, oh, and Commissioner Hughes. Oh, you got it out of here. Okay. Be well, be safe, sir.
Great.
So
Thank
right
you,
now,
Commissioner
Chuck,
Hughes.
We have 3 volunteers for 2 positions. How do we go about protocol so that we do it properly?
Well, I guess we could, perhaps well, first of all, I would like to note that we have one additional action item for an additional project. So we could perhaps parlay interest from this project into that one. So that's one option. The other option is we could go, basically with who chimed in first. So just an order of whoever got to the buzzer first. We could also discuss if you'd like to as well and come up with. So we'll ultimately, when we take action, we'll ultimately be taking action on 2 people, 1 volunteer and one alternate that we've all come to an agreement on.
And I believe with additional future projects, we'll have additional volunteer opportunities. So
Certainly.
I am absolutely fine with the first 2 to chime in. So the first recommendation would be Dr. Anjun Park, and then that would have Wayne serving as an alternative.
Great.
Okay.
Unless,
Excellent.
yeah. Oh, I'm seeing Imani on the chat, if Imani would like to weigh in.
Well, I read ahead on the report and Willie Henderson is having an art installation. And since you're giving away the seats on this one, I just want to throw my hat in on that one.
Okay, so we should finish up on this one first, but I think noted.
Being chosen, so I'm trying to like have my hand on the buzzer. So
okay.
So Chuck, I believe we just set protocol that from now on, first person respond will be first considered.
Yeah. I'll defer to your prerogative, Keith.
Duly noted, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you for that. Would anyone like to make a motion to advise the commission to recommend the following panelists for the Hidden Trails Park Public Art Project, PAC volunteer, with alternate. So it would be the Dr. Anjun Park as the representative, and the alternate would be Wayne Holton. And Perry Vasquez for the seat of the visual art design professional, with recommended alternates in no particular order to serve as 2 of the 5 ad hoc artist selection panelists. If you would please type speak on the chat window and verbally state your name and make your motion. Dr. Rogers?
Sorry, I wrote speak before you mentioned you want to make a motion. I'm with Imani. I wanted to put my name in for the Willie Hendersons.
Okay.
As you were moving forward, but I will make the motion to approve Dr. Park and Wayne Holton, as well as Perry Vasquez.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rogers. Do we have a second?
I second. It's Commissioner Friedman.
Commissioner Friedman, thank you very much. Okay, we now have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If you'd like to speak, please type speak on the chat window and you'll be called in the order your request comes in. Chuck, I see no comments. Now we will take a vote. I will call your name and we'll, Wayne Holton, you had a comment?
I just wanted to know, as an alternate, what would be my responsibilities? I would just take the place if for some reason Yoon could not continue.
Right. Yeah, so if we'll be coordinating a time for the panel to meet, and in the event that Dr. Park can't join us, then I'd be reaching out to you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So now we will take a vote. I will call your name and you will respond out loud with yay, nay, or abstain. And this is once again for the approval for the committee, Dr. Park, followed by Wayne Holton as an alternative. Commissioner Friedman.
Yay.
Anthony Graham.
Yay.
Dr. Guillen.
Yay.
Wayne Holton.
Yay.
Francisco Eme.
Yay.
Commissioner Robinson,
Yay.
Dr. An Yoon Park,
Yay.
Dr. Denise Rogers,
Yay.
and my vote is a yay. Thank you. Chuck, please read any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing and call on any attendees that would like to provide comment for this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Opsted. No comment was submitted in writing. To those members of the public in attendance, please press the hand raise button now if you'd like to provide comment for this item. I am seeing none.
Thank you, Chuck. Just writing some notes here. I believe that takes us on to our second agenda item, the artist selection panelist for Willie Henderson Sports Complex Public Art Project. Chuck, please provide an overview of the project and the staff recommendation.
Thank you once again, Commissioner Opstad. So the Willie Henderson Sports Complex Public Art Project. Just getting caught up with my notes here. The Willie Henderson Sports Complex is a recreation complex and adjacent park located along 45th Street in Mountain View, a highly diverse neighborhood in Southeast San Diego. The project will comprise improvements to the park and complex, including futsal courts, indoor-outdoor soccer areas, a new playground, community gardens, picnic tables, water fountains, fencing, lighting, and of course, public art. As well as improvements to the turf, parking lots, and sidewalks. The artist contract for the design, fabrication, transportation, and oversight during installation will be $60,000. And the artist will create a permanent artwork that responds to the unique context of the park and sports complex improvements. So once again, RFQ open to artists authorized to work in the US. Artists apply by submitting qualifications. 5-member ad hoc selection panel will evaluate applications and recommend one artist for contract award. And construction, once again, tentatively expected by the end of 2025. So our recommendation today is that the commission approve the following panelists for the Willie Henderson Sports Complex Public Art Project. So 1 volunteer and 1 alternate public art committee member, and Katie Ruiz for the site of the visual art and design professional with recommended alternates in no particular order to serve as 2 of the 5 ad hoc artist selection panelists. Katie Ruiz is an artist, art director, and curator based in San Diego. Ruiz is currently the art director of the Women's Museum of California in San Diego. She earned an MFA from the New York Studio School of Drawing, Painting, and Sculpture. She is recognized for her blanket series, community-based work such as the Pom Pom Project, and her activist work with refugees. Ruiz has exhibited extensively, including at the Oceanside Museum of Art, the Museum of Contemporary Art San Diego, Hackett Mill Gallery, Barry Campbell Gallery, the New Children's Museum, and at the San Diego International Airport. Her work is in the collection of the Oceanside Museum of Art and the City of San Diego Civic Art Collection, among others. So that concludes my presentation for the Willie Henderson Sports Complex Public Art Project. Happy to take any questions. You're on mute, Keith.
That would help a lot. Thank you very much. It wouldn't be a Zoom without being told that at least once. I apologize. Commissioner Robinson, you have a comment?
My comment is simply to request myself as a panelist for Willie Henderson. Do
Excellent. Duly noted. You're already on the list.
Duly noted. Yes.
And Francisco M.A., do you have a comment?
Yes, I have a question. So what is the process to select the professional, the visual artist that is going to be part of this panel? So how do you select like Katie Ruiz or Perry Vasquez?
So the the list of panelists that you have there, these are folks that have either expressed interest in serving as a panelist, former Public Art Committee members, as well as arts and design professionals in the community that we're aware of, that we feel would reflect the interests of this particular project opportunity. So we sort of we figure that out kind of all internally, and then we put it out to you to discuss and make recommendations on. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you, Charles. I think
you're on mute again, Keith.
Sorry, we had the Pledge of Allegiance in the background. Dr. Rogers, do you have a comment?
I just wanted to restate my, be the alternate.
Duly noted. Thank you so much. Chuck, is there any other comments?
No.
Okay. In that case, then I will now ask if there are any volunteers. We already got that. I have to follow protocol, so just please bear with me. Any volunteers from Public Art Committee members to fill out one of the 5 selected panel seats for the Willie Henderson Sports Complex Public Art Project. We also need 1 alternate in the event that those who volunteer are unable to serve. Are there any volunteers? We have already acknowledged Commissioner Robinson as a volunteer, along with Dr. Rogers as an alternate. Thank you for that. Would anyone like to make a motion to advise the commission to recommend the following panelists? Commissioner Robinson and also Dr. Rogers as an alternate. To advise the commission to approve the following panelists for the Willie Henderson Sports Complex Public Art Project. With recommendation alternates in no particular order as Dr. Rogers. To serve as the 5 ad hoc artist selection panelists, if you would please type speak on the chat window and verbally state your name and make your motion to approve those 2 members. Dr. Park?
Eunjung Park, so moved.
Duly noted, thank you. Would anyone like to second that? Please type speak on the chat window and verbally state your name and second. Francisco M.
Francisco M, I second.
Thank you very much. Duly noted. The seconded is acknowledged. We now have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If you would like to speak, please type speak on the chat window and you will be called in the order your request comes in. Wayne Holton?
My speak was to just second the motion. So
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Chuck, I am not seeing any discussion. Now we will take a vote. I will call your name and you'll respond out loud with yay, nay, or abstain. Commissioner Friedman.
Yay.
Anthony Graham.
Yay.
Dr. Guillen.
Yay.
Wayne Holton.
yay.
Francisco M.
Yay.
Commissioner Robinson.
Yay.
Dr. Park.
Yay.
Dr. Rogers.
Yay.
And my vote is a yay. Thank you. Chuck, please read any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing and call on any attendees that would like to provide comment for this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Opstead. No comment was provided in writing. To those members of the public in attendance, please press the hand raise button now if you'd like to provide comment on this item. I am seeing none.
Thank you, Chuck. We're continuing now on to the reports, and I'd like to call to Christine Jones to provide the staff reports.
Thank you, Chair Ofsted, and good morning again, everybody. It's nice to see you all. I know I wasn't at the last, the meeting in August. I don't know if we had one, but I didn't see you all because I was away. But I am back and just want to update you on Park Social. We have had an incredibly busy summer with Park Social, and thank you all so much for many of seeing the familiar faces and you guys all attending the various events. I just wanted to just kind of go over some of our highlights from the summer, as well as kind of a prelude or to what we have planned for the fall. So as you all know and remember, Park Social's a citywide initiative. We're doing this in parks all over the city and really introducing social specific projects and public art into the city's park system. So it's not only an opportunity to support artists that was coming out of the pandemic, but also a way to activate park spaces and to connect with park goers in really new and different ways. This is the largest temporary art initiative that the city's ever undertaken. So this past summer, you'll see here a picture of Mario Mesquita's project. So this summer, his project launched Paletas Communal Social Club. And it was a mobile lab. It moved back and forth between Market Creek Canyon and Kennedy Park in Council District 4. And he worked with volunteers and wandered back and forth to really connect people, learn about their shared experiences, and then in exchange for an ice pop. So he did many interviews with people, really exploring the ideas of resilience and expressions of what kind of happened during the pandemic and ways to look forward. So he'll be sharing out and really synthesizing that information in a culminating event that he'll be having in October. So stay tuned for more information on that. And if you go to the next slide, we also had David White's Essential San Diego pop-up installation. That has popped up 2 times now. And really it's a chance for park goers in Kate Sessions Park. So that's over in Pacific Beach and Council District 2. It's a pop-up installation that happens for essentially a day-long installation, taking the form, as you see here, of kind of scenic overlook style binoculars. However, they really offer a view like no other in the city, and it's been particularly fun. I attended the last installation. It's particularly fun and really interesting to observe park goers and the curiosity about what is this, kind of looking around it, and how they slowly start to look within it and start to discover that, wait a minute, this is not the panoramic view I was expecting, but instead I'm bearing witness, or I am looking at everyday workers in the city. So this pop-up event is going to be happening one more time in September. So if you haven't gone, I would highly suggest taking a look, literally, at that project. We also had artist Mario. Well, this is a view of what you see, just a sneak peek if you haven't been yet. A sneak peek of one of the vignettes, video vignettes that people see when they do actually look into those binoculars. In addition to David White's project that happened this summer, we also had Mario Torero and okay, I forgot this slide was in there. No, go on back. Let's talk about this slide. So as many of you know, Shana Ray Dowling, Yvette Roman had a culminating event this summer for their project, Collective Memory. So that was a project that they really co-created. Essentially the blankets that you see here in this picture and the installation with encouraging people to share their memories and their feelings about the pandemic. And so from that, they really created this installation, which was at their culminating picnic, which happened in July. And park goers really had a chance to kind of go inside the installation, read and kind of learn about people's shared experiences, and also just kind of meet the artists and connect with the artists. So that was a real fun celebration. And another thing that happened this summer was a pop-up installation with Mario Torero and Sarah Bella Mondrian. So that was they basically temporarily deployed over the course of a weekend in July 4 Toltec totems. And these were really featuring influential Chicano artists and brightly colored images in these totem-like structures. Each totem, the artist placed in a different location of Balboa Park. And really the intent was to serve as a bridge to the Centro Cultural de la Raza, which happens to be celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. So as part of the totems, they really did encourage people to go check out and learn about the Centro and have people going to the Centro that day with some incentives along the way. And then as summer really starts to end, we're really, we have a lot of art projects and activations coming up in September. So for example, Trevor Emery's work, which you see here, this is an installation called Barely Touching. So this is currently on view at the Kensington Park, which is a small park next to the Kensington Library. And this weekend, he'll be doing another Drawn Together workshop, which is really a hands-on tutorial that really demonstrates and engages park goers in how to make collages and rubbings from the installation. So that actually will be happening tomorrow at 10:30 to 12:30. So if you happen to be in the area, please check it out. You can come and make your own artwork. And if you can't make it tomorrow, he'll be back on September 17th. So you can check that out again. And then just to reiterate, we have a number of projects coming up in September. We do have all of these listed on the sdparksocial.com website. But just to give you just a quick overview, David White's pop-up, he'll be doing it one more time. That's the binoculars. So if you're interested in checking that out, that'll be on September 10th. Keenan Harston's musical playground pop-up will be happening again, the Honeycomb Harmonies. That will be coming to Views West Neighborhood Park in September as well. And Reading to Strangers. So Allison Weiss will be reading novels and encouraging park goers to read along with her. So that will be an invitation to drop in and participate. Her next reading will be on September 17th in Canyon Hills Open Space, which really allows for a very unique venue for this type of a project. And then if you're feeling like you want to move and maybe involve yourself, engage in some kickball, the artist Zakia Mahler Salinas and the dance-based group Disco Riot will be hosting a performative event that really explores soccer, well, not soccer, they're going to be exploring kickball. Sorry, I'm in the arts, sometimes the sports. They'll be exploring kickball and then really crafting dances around those themes. And they'll be engaging all the audience as part of that. So that should be really fun. That will be happening in Claremont area of San Diego in Olive Grove Community Park. And that will be toward the later part of September on September 17th and 18th. And in addition to all those activations happening, we also do have ongoing installations. We've got Lot Groove, which is happening in Plumosa Park in Point Loma. The Tree Line installation, which is an installation by Casey Munoz and Klein Swanger, that is installed in the trees, literally, in Linda Vista. And then Roberto Salas's tribute to Paleteros is also ongoing and happening near Stanley Park in University City. So if you haven't had a chance, please go out and check them out, and we'll be reporting out again on some of these activities at our next meeting. And that concludes our report for today.
Thank you so much, Christine, for the report. Are there any committee member reports additionally? If so, please type speak in the chat box and I will call you in order. And Christine, thank you for sharing that link in the chat. Finally, Chuck, please read any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing and call on any attendees that would like to provide comment for this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Opstad. No comment was submitted in writing. To those members of the public, please press your hand raise, the hand raise button now if you'd like to provide comment for this item. And I'm seeing none.
Thank you very much, Chuck. Thank you, committee members. Our next meeting is planned for October 7th. I wanted to thank everybody for your time, your passion, your efforts. I would also like to, in particular, thank Dr. Anjun Park, Wayne Holton, Commissioner Imani Robinson, and then also Dr. Denise Rogers for volunteering today. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful and safe weekend, Labor Day weekend. And I conclude this meeting at 10:25.
Stay cool, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Have a good Labor Day weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend.
Bye.